seat. And that may be, I'm in Siddhasana, the pose of the adept, Sukhasana, Virasana, Yogasana. So sometimes sitting on a chair is what is needed. What we're looking for is create that sense of complete ease in the seat. So take a moment, sort of wiggle yourself in. It may be adding another blanket. It may be scooting up against a piece of furniture so that you can lean up against it. That is okay, or lean up against a wall. You don't have to sit like a yogi. Just feel like a yogi. That means calm and at ease. Now, we start by bringing the thumb to the ring finger and the pinky finger. Ring finger and pinky finger. That is prana, vayu. Vayu means wind, as in a energetic way. We have 5 winds that we talk about in the practice. Prana vayu is the incoming wind, where we get nourishment. So it is air, it is the breath that draws in. It is also our food. It is everything we see and experience that brings nourishment. And of course, things can also bring not nourishment. And some of it we can discern, and some of it we can't. I get that. So we try to invite in wellness. So as you settle in, Pranavayu, just rest your hands on your thighs. The fingers can curl up. Don't feel like you have to get rigid in how you sit. When we apply the mudras to the practice, all we have to do is create that connection. It's like an electrical circuit. Just by holding the fingers in this way, we affect this particular part of our being. If it's comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes or keep a soft gaze on the mat in front. And begin by inviting the breath into your belly. Inhaling and exhaling. Let it be easy. The yoga practice is not meant to be hard. And then I invite you to begin to lay on the Ujjayi breathing, victorious breath. And let's start with the out breath and with an open mouth. So a deep as if you're fogging up a glass or a mirror. And you feel that sense of contraction in the back, and it creates a soft hissing sound. Let's do it again. One more time. And then explore if it's available to do with the mouth closed. Same action in the throat. You're going to hear a soft hissing sound. As you breathe out, still pretending again to be fogging up the glass or mirror. It stretches out the exhalation. So we get to hold the breath in a little bit longer. Lungs get a little bit more time to draw the oxygen out of the breath that came in and also expel the CO2 to go back out. And if it feels okay, add it onto the in-breath as well. The mind will wander off, keeping it on the breath. Still the belly breathing, the diaphragmatic breath. So give yourself a timeout once in a while to invite the prana inward. It must come into our bodies for us to harness it. And relaxing the hands. Switch the cross of your legs. And we'll start with a simple opening poses. Interlace the fingers, draw the hands to the sky. And let's twist to the right. Inhaling up to the left. Inhaling up. Take the right hand down. Let's stretch to the side. Up to center. We'll go to the other side. Also another super easy break to take through the day. Let's interlace the fingers again. Other thumb on top. And we reach up again, lifting the ribs away from the pelvis. Letting the chin soften down. The neck relaxes. Gaze comes up, releasing the hands. And we'll take the legs out. Just shake them out a little bit. Baddha Konasana. It's almost the entirety of the external rotation tonight. Very unlike last week. So take your hands to the knees. And we're just going to bounce them a little bit from side to side. Don't make it a big hairy deal. We just want to create a little bit of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then now leaning forward, pressing the knees up into the hands, with the hands inviting the knees downwards. So it's a little bit of a test of strength, but not overly so. It's more like a playful event. And not a passive stretch, but eccentric, meaning that the inner groins are engaged while they release. That way the body knows that it happened. It knows it's safe. It showed up. And we are not so likely to overstretch. Let's take the knees together. And then come up into standing. Boom, like that. So while the 5 Tibetan rituals is where we're going, we are going to start with a little bit of mobilization first. I like to start with these because it gets my body ready. First one, start with the legs, stand with the legs close together, and then put your hands on your knees or lower thighs, kind of talking to a very short person. And then do circles, keeping the feet flat and wide on the floor. And remember, you're in charge. If it hurts, back off, back off, back off. So for ankles and knee joints, a little bit more synovial fluid. Let's go in the opposite direction. The synovial fluid or juice does not secrete unless we actually use the joints. Another part of our ojas. The opposite of ojas is ama, A-M-A. All right, let's stand up and separate the feet out. Ama is gunk. It's the gunk that collects in our veins, in our mind, in our digestive system. Now, hip circle, like you are swinging a big hula hoop about. So just like our little starting sequence can stand on its own, this mobilization sequence can also stand on its own. Let's go in the other direction. And then stand again with the feet hip width apart, not too wide, not too narrow. And then just do gentle twisting around, back and forth. Let's get a little bit of movement into my upper back. And let your legs just follow. Don't torque your knees. Don't force it. I'm just telling the body things to come. And then from here, let's place the hands on the shoulders. I know I've cut off my head, but that's not what you'll need to look at anyway. Let's draw shoulder circles. So hands are on the shoulders, or if this hurts your shoulders, just have the arms hanging and do shoulder circles. And we will also we do about 5 of each, so switch direction and then go in the opposite direction. Again, getting the joint juice going. And then relax the arms down. So I'll bend down so you can see me. So the head rotation. So let's draw the head, look over your right shoulder, back to center, left shoulder. Let's go back and forth. Keep the shoulder drawing down the back. Don't force it. And then lateral movement. Draw your right ear towards the left shoulder, coming up. Other side. So in some sequences, sometimes they teach shoulder rolls. And my teachers always said the neck and head is not a socket, ball and socket joint. So it's really not meant to do rolls. That's why we're just doing them separately, not all together. And with that said, we are ready. First ritual, the spinning. And you spin as fast or as slow as comfortable for you, as many rotations as you want. Keep in touch with your feet and then clockwise, always clockwise. Take the arms out to the side, make sure you're clearing the room, the antiques and your fellow practitioners. And let's spin, get all of the chakras spinning. And those chakras, they correspond with where our endocrine systems are, as I mentioned. So spinning, spinning, stay with your feet. And one you think, okay, that's probably good. Come into power stance. Standing with your feet wider than your hips, like Superman. Breathe. Ujjayi breath in and out. What's kind of cool about this pose, if you strike this pose for at least 30 seconds, you actually increase your testosterone. And that is what gives us a sense of strength, ability. I'm coming. I don't want too much, but a little goes a long way. From right number 1, the one you can do as many times as you want, we move to number 2. We'll do 3 variations. So coming onto your back, and let's bend up the knees. In the Tibetans, the inhalation initiates. So on the, let's do a little test run here first. As you exhale, flatten the low back, draw the pelvic floor up. Remember, this is part of your core support. Inhaling, releasing. Now let's exhale, draw the back down. Hold it there as you inhale, lifting the head and the knees. Exhaling down, keep the back flat so this whole spine doesn't rock. Back and forth. Again, flattening the back, preparing to lift the head and the knees. I just wanted to have awareness of that. Lowering on the out breath. If lifting both knees creates discomfort in your back, then lift one knee at a time. Keep the back down. Keep it well grounded. And then pausing here. So we're gonna up the ante a little bit. Let's take the right leg straight. Keep the left leg bent. And then inhale, lift the head, lift the leg. And exhale down again. Take a breath in and out. Do that again. Right leg lifts and comes down. Keep your spine grounded. One more time. And let's switch to the other side. Lift the left leg. Keep your low back well grounded as you lift and lower. Lifting and lowering. And then after that, now for the classical execution or the Big Lebowski, and be a good steward. It is both legs. As you inhale, head and straight legs, exhaling down. So maybe the bent knee is a better choice for your body today. Maybe the single leg lift is a better place for your body today. Do the one that feels right or skip this third part entirely. More pain is just more pain. How many repetitions should you do, you ask? Well, therein lies the big question. Let this one be your last one. Just pause. Pause on your back. Take 3 Ujjayi breath in and out. You can bend up your knees. And once you have done your 3 breaths, you're going to bend up your knees if they are straight. Roll over onto one side for our next Tibetan, which is the camel pose variation. If kneeling is not your happy place, you can do this one standing. You can also put blankets under your knees. Now, classically, the hands are on your lower derriere or upper thighs. I prefer to make fists and I put them right on the sacrum. So I have my knuckles. So my hands are together on the back. Can you all see what I'm doing? This way, I get a little bit, I feel more stable, more stability in my back. So with the shoulders up and down, watch. Inhaling, drawing back, and exhaling, chin tucks. Inhaling, going back. Now only take your head back as far as is comfortable. So be a good steward of your neck. Moving with your breath and do 5, 6 repetitions. Keep the elbows pulling back as you go back. This one here, well, all of the Tibetans have been absolutely marvelous for my neck. I was getting a COVID neck from sitting at my table and working using my laptop. So I'm just putting that out there. That's been my experience. You know, be a good steward. Be a good steward. And then once you complete it, 5 or 6, sit down. The legs can be out in front. They can be, you can sit right back on your heels. and we pause. I was initially taught that you should always do the same number of each, except the spinning. And you would grow them together up to 21 repetitions. The author, Ancient Secret of the Fountain of Youth, said, nah, don't matter. You don't have to have them even, because the ones you're doing more of will have support, strengthening for the ones that you need to sort of juice up a little bit. And that makes sense to me. So being mindful that you are using it to increase the number for all of them. So if they're one that just like, I hate this one, then skipping it, no. But modifying and let the other ones that are easier help this one produce more ojas. So the next one is our reverse tabletop, which is not everybody's favorite. So we have a couple of modifications. So first, let's just start with a full Lebowski. Planting the hands by the side chest. Oh, sorry, by the hip, not the side chest, because we're sitting up. So a tendency is to lean back or to slouch a bit. So sitting up tall, very tall. My feet are slightly separated, so they are hip width apart. And then starting here like we did in camel with the chin tucked. And then as you inhale, take the feet down, lift the hips and come into tabletop, squeeze up the top. And then we return back to the starting point. Now, before we go ahead doing 21 of these, let me show you the modifications. If the wrists and shoulders are the issue, a chair is really nice. A coffee table, because with a chair, you get the same shape, but it's a lot easier. You don't have to lift so high, but you're creating the pose, opening the front. And so that promotes that head lift. If a chair is not available, the other pose is bridge pose. But of course, what we lose out with in bridge pose is the neck extension. So choose your weapon, choose your number of repetitions. I'm gonna just watch y'all, see what you choose, whether you're sitting on a chair, you're on the floor, or bridge pose. So on the in-breath, lifting up, squeeze everything on your back body at the top, and then draw back again to where you started, Dandasana. The head movement, of course, supports the thyroid and the parathyroid gland, and the lifting up opens the entire front body. So this one is probably the one that produces the most comments. Can we just take that one out? No. But be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. We don't have a lot of movements in the yoga practice or in life where we move, where we create this push forward of the arms. It's really great for your rotator cuffs, but not if they are struggling. So again, bridge pose or the chair will be a better ally for you. So let's say this one is the last one of the reverse tabletop. And we have arrived at the last one. When classically, I'll show that, and then I will show you the modification that I have added. So we start in upward facing dog. In breath takes us to downward facing dog. Exhale, inhale. Now here, this can also be knees down, puppy, and tall cobra. To switch the breath. The modification that I add from downward facing dog, exhale forward to plank, take the knees down and add a push-up. Then continue, exhale, up dog, inhale, down dog, exhale, plank, drop the knees, push up, exhale, up dog. So let's see what you choose. Be kind, be kind. The push-up I added in because upper body strength is what sort of begins to disappear for many of us as we blow out more birthday candles. So taking the knees down is a little gentler. It is an easier push-up. It is a safer push-up than the full-on military event. And maybe you lower down half an inch, a quarter of an inch. You lower down as low as you lower down. That's that. And so you have the wrists are saying, not my happy place. You're doing a good job taking care of them. I like it. So as you come down, let's let this one be the last one. We can all join Jennifer. Now, so wrist circles, and put the back of the hands together and just do twirls. It's a nice little break in both directions. The thing about wrists, right? To strengthen them, we are doing what also hurts them. So a little goes a long way. It is the irony. And this one, you can also do that with a chair on the mat. Again, there's less weight on the hands. So you are allowed to modify what we're doing. It's still the head movement. In upward dog, the chin is up, and in downward facing dog, the chin is down. So that was very easy, wasn't it? The 5 Tibetans. Now, the 6th Tibetan, Kapalati breathing, is it's often forgotten, which is interesting because it is a powerful digestive aid. Kapalati breathing is skull shining. That's the English word. So the name suggests that it comes with a little bit of caution. We're not going to do a big practice because it is not a great evening practice. It will stimulate you, it will wake you up, but it will also stimulate your digestion. So again, prana, food is prana, it is life force. Place your hands on your belly. And then the movement is as if you're sneezing or coughing. Pull the belly back towards the spine and let that force the air out. So contract Mula Bandha, lift the pelvic floor so that the breath goes that way and nothing goes that way. Sudden contraction, let go. And it's when you let go, the breath draws in. So this is a very gentle Kapalati. It's super for stimulating and strengthening your abdomen. And we are working on the hormones of the intestines to benefit us over time. If you don't have hernia, high blood pressure, anxiety, prone to anxiety and panic attacks, then also this is a no-no. And if you've had recent surgery, if you're pregnant, So you begin to add speed. So we're going to do another round. I invite you to do it at the speed that's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you have to blow a gasket, but you want to get that pull, contraction. And the hands on the abdomen, it's just to have a tactile feedback that we are actually contracting these muscles. You don't want to do this right after you eat. That's not going to go well. So with that said, we are ready for my additions. Restorative twist, Bharvajasana. So for this, what I call the poor man's bolster. You can also use couch pillows, etc. Take 2 blocks. And here again, you can use a bolster if you have a bolster. But I am going to make what I call, again, the poor man's bolster. You're going to take a blanket, fold it into your hot dog fold, and place that on your blocks. I have a long torso, so I am going to add a second blanket. And once you have created your support, sit with your, well, I'm going to say right hip, but you sit however you can sit senior, because we are obviously going to go to the other side. You will sit, you can have a little bit of space between the bolster and your body. And then twist. Place your hands on each side. Swing the legs behind you. Now, just as we do in the merman twist, lift your hip. So that'd be my left hip. Pull it back towards the right. So I'm lengthening the whole sideways. And I get a little bit more rotation. And now facing down over the support, I let the support catch me. The lower ribs are supported. And then for most, having the nose facing in the same direction as the knees is going to be most comfortable. So twists are deeply cleansing for the body. So as you breathe in and out, now if you can, reach your arms up and around your bolster, blanket stack, and clasp your wrist. Clasp one wrist, and just create a little bind. And if it's not comfortable, be willing to investigate. Is it too high? Is it too low? It takes a little bit of time to know what is the right size for me. Invite the breath into the back, into the kidneys, and let the back body expand as you breathe in. You can incorporate the Ujjayi breath here. The mind wants to wander off. Bring it back to the breath. So our bodies They weren't built for constant movement. They weren't built for constant stillness. It is what I said last time, breath, stillness, and movement. We use these three applications to create the change we desire. Stillness has as much value as movement. Let your body surrender to the support. Surrendering to the breath, pranavayu. Are there places in your body you're holding on? Can you let go a little bit more? And to prepare the body for movement, allow the breath to deepen slightly. And then begin to walk the hands back as you lift the head up, lift the torso up, and spin away from the support. And you'll come to be ready for the other side. With the hands on each side, do the little hip scoops, draw the hip away from the bolster setup, and then come down, let your ribs catch. And take the arms up again, over around the top of the blanket of the bolster. And as you settle in, again, investigate. Do I need more blankets, less blankets? Do I need to move some stuff? Maybe a blanket between the legs. In a restorative pose, it is only restorative if we are not fighting against a discomfort, an irritation. Some teachers will state that the restorative poses is where we get a lot of bang for our buck. Breathing into your back, into your kidneys, and help your back body release. Purging. Again, Ujjayi breath, if it feels comfortable. Sometimes Ujjayi 2, which is the out breath only. Skip the in breath if that produces, again, struggle discomfort and do the out breath and let that go away if that's uncomfortable. Simply following the breath, this breath, in and out, and this one. We are addicted to doing, addicted to moving. And this busyness gets trapped in our bodies, creates tension, discomfort, irritation. And again, gently begin to deepen the breath. And let that be a cue to begin to lift up, walk the hands back and sit up. Our next pose is an inversion. Supported downward facing dog. So I'm going to use the same setup that I just had. Now that may be too high or too low. Watch how much of it I'm covering as I start in tabletop. So I tuck my toes under and lift up to dog. My head, I'm not reaching for the bolster, so I'm not bending and dropping my head. I'm letting my head relax back. Walking the feet in a wee bit might create a little bit more ease in the shoulders. If this pose, if you're already going, no, then fear not, we have supported child's pose, which is where you take the bolster between the legs and then let yourself come down and rest here. One pose is not better than the other, so choose the one that your body will benefit the most from. So as you come into, if you're doing the dog, have the head grounded. The feet may be slightly wider than the hips and maybe slightly shorter stance than what we normally do. That will allow, again, more weight to easily go to the back. The forehead, the hairline, or towards the top of the head, just rest lightly on the support. So you may find you're going to have to either add more blankets, take blankets away, move things around. It takes a little bit of time to sort it out. What this does, it allows the neck to lengthen, but only if it's relaxed. If it's all grit and grudging as you practice the pose, then there is no relaxation, and then it just creates more tightness. So Joanne, you might have gotten a little too short. I know, clothing is leaving across the screen. So maybe about a third shorter, maybe, than your regular dog. I find that's a really happy place for me. And if you are in dog, I invite you to join the child's pose people, taking the knees down and relax so that the shoulders and the upper back can take a little breather here. Supporting again your trunk so that your back body is pretty parallel to the ground. Chest is supported. Again, the breath draws into the back body. When we are severely exhausted, sometimes the term adrenal fatigue, if we have been exhausted and stressed for a very long time, the restorative poses are going to be much more beneficial initially. We cannot exercise ourselves rested if we are that fatigued. And then walking your hands up, and we're going to sit up for our second to last pose, the Viparita Karni. And I invite you to use a wall or door or your couch. You can use a couch. Instead of having the legs straight, they can just bend over the couch seat. Couches are marvelous yoga props. I don't know why all yoga studios don't have a couch in there. So with your mat towards the wall. Now, if you have a plush carpet, then you probably don't even need to take your mat with you. Placing either your bolster or your poor man's bolster, your 2 blocks. I'll turn around so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I place my blocks about a couple of inches out from the wall. I'm going to take a blanket and I'm going to put it on top, the hug dog fold, with the fringes towards the wall. So the fringes are pointing towards the wall. I'm going to take another blanket. I'm going to unfold that and place it on my mat, because that just means I am going to be ready to travel. Again, if you have a carpet, then you don't need to add extra. We want to make this as comfortable. So the couch, yes, Jill, the couch is perfect. So it will all make sense. Yes, your legs are going to be up the couch. Perfect. So let me show you, there's getting into the Viparita Karni, and that's the same thing if you're going to be maybe swinging around on the couch, is sit at the edge. So I'm even on the couch, I invite you to have a blanket. You want a little bit of height so your spine is not flat. We need that little back bend. And then I'm going to navigate and get my tush, both of the cheeks, onto the wall. And then I'm going to do the drop and roll. I'm going to use my legs to situate myself. So sacrum is on the support. Here, I relax. So now let's see how everything is setting up. So the benefit of the couch is that the knees are bent, so the hamstrings are taken out of the equation. Have enough support under your sacrum so that you are in a little bit of a back bend. This facilitates thymus gland. Relaxing the arms out to the side. So the chest is lifted. It's like a little itty bitty mini bridge pose. God, you guys are troopers. Who would have thought a year ago when we stopped meeting in person that I would be hanging out with you in your homes? I am so, so grateful that I get to do that. I like your setup, Katie. Nailed it. So again, it should be comfortable. You want it to be comfortable, no strain, where you can just relax. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a wiggle. We tell ourselves these little stories. Next time I do this, I will really make it good. Well, make it good right now. Make it good right now. Like really good. In this pose, if you have the legs straight and you do want to stay for 5 or 10 minutes, I recommend that you strap your legs together. When the knees are bent and you're resting them on a chair or a couch, it's pretty easy to, or easier. It's less strain in the groins. Now, we start out with Prana Vayu. We are going to bookend it with Vyana Vayu. In Vyana, diffusing or spreading, you're going to take the thumb to your index finger and middle finger. So the 2 fingers we didn't use before, we're now going to use, and the 2 fingers we did use, we're not going to use. And then relax your arms. Vyana, spreading, diffusing. So right now we are inviting the prana to travel everywhere in our body. The vitality, the juice, the well-being. Letting the breath be comfortable, be easy. So Katie, I'm looking at you. You might want to scooch back a little bit so that your knees, you don't have such a sharp angle in your knees. It may not feel good, but it may feel better. Because you're hitting the back of the couch right there, or back of the chair, is that right? How's that? Because if the bottom of the feet are pressing up against the back of the chair or a couch, we get this sort of sense of recoil in the body. So it's better to just be out a little bit further, and so the feet can relax and there's a sense of spaciousness all of the way around. This pose alone is such a gold mine to restore wellness. Again, you can incorporate Ujjayi breath, or if that feels like too much trouble, diaphragmatic breathing. Make it easy. The pose, the mudra, is doing the job. And sometimes adding more is just too much. If your legs are up straight, I invite you to bend them. Place the feet on the wall or the couch. We're going to scoot back so that your hips are now on the floor. So you just scoot, 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 scoot. Leave the blanket where it is that you had under your pelvis. And then cross your ankles with the knees out to the side. So come also, the hips are now down. So your legs will actually rest on the blankets. So as you come down, this is Supta Sukhasana. So cross-legged, and let your feet rest on the blanket that you had under your hips. So put the blanket back under Katie, and so that little bit of elevation crossing the ankles. It's sometimes a little easier, but bend up the knees. So Jill, you move too far back, and I'm doing a crap job of explaining this one. So Joanne, as you lay down, scoot away from the chair and just cross your ankles. Look at Allie. You get a good view of her. Knees relax out to the side, unless that bothers your outer hips. So you are simply just laying in Supta Sukhasana to let the inner groins relax after the Pratikarni. And from here, you can stay here for the next minute for Shavasana, or just scoot all the way back so you can lay out straight. So we are at the, almost pulling into the station. So scoot, scoots, scoot, scoots. And of course, Shavasana is a restorative pose. It is where we marinate. We brought in the prana, we spread it everywhere in our body. We have invited all the juices to start flowing, like the maple trees in springtime. And the pollen time. So settling in a way, again, that's comfortable. Head supported. If there's a tuck on the low back, knees may need a little bit of lift, blanket or bolster. Ease. Breathing in ease. If your legs are in Sukhasana, crossed, and draw them together so the knees are bent. Invite the straight legs to also bend up your knees. You can either rock the knees gently from side to side or hug the knees in and rock side to side. Rolling all the way over onto right or left side, whatever feels better. And then gently, after a few breaths, find your way up into a comfortable seated posture. Cat and dog yoga. Closing with 3 ohms. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale and bow your head towards your heart, your body, your existence. Your wellness. And we'll draw the gaze back up. Namaste. Thank you.